Hey, Freedom from Rent community. This is an exciting day. I'm doing my home hour this week. It's not happy hour, it's home hour. And this is when I really love to share different ideas, different perspectives about you becoming a homeowner and to, for once and for all, stop having you pay your landlord's mortgage. So I've got a good friend of mine and a partner in the leading California community. We help a lot of Californians leave. We help people stop paying their landlord's mortgage. And I've been waiting a couple weeks to get Monty. He's a super busy guy. He can tell you a little more about who he is and what he does, but he is in the top 1% of lenders nationwide, and you don't get that way overnight. So I'm super excited to have Monty share some thoughts about this Freedom from Rent community and what we're teaching and some of the success that we're having. So Monty, how are you?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks, David. Honored to be on here.
Well, here we go. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive in. We got a lot of,
Wonderful.
we're going to try to pack this punch in about 30 minutes. And so let's get started. Today, like I said, Monty Felts is our guest, and he is licensed in all 50 states. And we'll discuss why now is the perfect time to stop paying your landlord's mortgage, or at minimum, it's the perfect time to start getting that mindset and start thinking about how you're going to start heading in that direction. Because Monty, I just feel like um, the government has kind of shifted the mentality of American people into thinking about they don't feel like they can get the American dream. They think that they're supposed to rent. So we're going to talk about that. And again, I'd like for you to meet Monty Felts. He's got,
Mm.
I think it's 15 years. Is that right?
Not quite
Oh,
15, but
15
that's
years.
it's been several years. We've been rolling, and so I'm super blessed to be in this business and get to help people in all 50 states buy houses and refinance. Really, we do both of those things. Right now, there's not a lot of people refinancing unless they've got high credit card debt. If they've got high credit card debt, then makes sense to consolidate that down. But focus for
Right.
today is on buying those houses. And so you're right, the passion is helping individuals and families achieve the dream of home ownership, especially those that don't think that they can. They're the most grateful when they see what it does for them.
Absolutely. And the impact of the Freedom from Rent community is something we're going to talk a little bit more about. But uh, we believe that this could be, this is a life-changing movement. I mean, I believe that this could be a national movement, and that's why I wanted to bring in Monty because he's a national lender. He helps people in all states, and we want the American dream to come back. So there's a super
Mm.
major impact on this, and
Yeah.
basically, let's talk a little bit about why freedom from rent and how we can stop paying the landlord's mortgage. Go ahead, you take it away, Monty.
Yeah, can definitely do that. So financial literacy is number one. We wanted you to know the benefits of owning versus renting. We find that most renters don't even know all the benefits. They know it's a good idea, but they don't know why. And so the biggest thing I can tell you is a person that owns a home versus a person who rents, on average, the person who owns has a 43 times greater net worth than the person who rents. Home ownership is the best way to increase what you're going to leave to your family, give you something in retirement. There's nothing like it. So we want to find a way, even if it takes a few years to get you there. We'll stick with you. We will help you get there. And so the navigation, we want to ease you through the mortgage qualification process. It's not that hard to have a 15-minute call with me or one of my team members and answer some questions. That's all we need to do. We need to gauge where are you. We don't have to do a hard credit pull. We just need to gauge where are you? What do you want to do? And then we're able to tell you this is what you could do now. This is what you'll be able to do in the future. We've got creative options to find a way to get what you really want now. And then the resources, we do have down payment assistance programs. We have creative out of the box programs. We have programs that don't even look at your income or your debt. Now, those are primarily for investors. Those are people like your landlord that want to buy up these other properties. But after we get you a home, why don't you become the landlord and start buying up other properties? Because the way to go to what I'm talking about with that high net worth is for you to be the one that's capitalizing on what we teach you and how you learn to get freedom from rent and then keep that going.
Well, and Freedom from Rent provides a support system of like-minded people. And
Yes.
this is a very new concept. We're just launching this, and if you're watching now, that's great. But we're launching this in 2025, and we anticipate that this is going to explode. And I really truly believe, and Monty does too, that this is going to be a movement. So the more active you are, the more engaged you are, the more questions you ask, and the
Hmm.
more steps that you take. One of the
Hmm.
things, and Monty knows this about me. I taught martial arts for 35 years. I haven't taught a class in about 6 years.
Hmm.
But people would come into my school and they would say, I want to be a black belt. I'd say,
Yeah.
when do you want to achieve that goal? I'd like to do it in a couple months if I could. And I would laugh at him. And Monty, I know that people have been renting for 7, 8, 10 years, and
Yes.
they come to you and they say, I want to be a homeowner. What do I got to do? When do you want to be a homeowner?
Right.
Tomorrow? And it's just that life just doesn't work that way. So you have to have the steps. You have to have people like Monty and myself that can guide you and help you along the way. That is one of the
Mm.
most important things. All right, the next slide. Monty, let's talk a little bit about the real cost of renting, because I don't think our listeners and our members, especially our first-time home buyers, really understand this. So could you break that down for us?
We can definitely do that. So we find that 1,500's an average number for rent. Yours could be higher, could be lower. We've seen both, but a good average number is $1,500. And so if you take that over the year, you've spent $18,000 on rent that you don't get to keep that. That went to your landlord. So that mortgage that's probably also around 1,500, might even be a little bit less, is being paid by you every month. So at the end of the year, your landlord is going to get a form that's going to let him write off that mortgage interest that was paid by you on his taxes, not on yours. It'd be cool if he sent it to you to reduce
Yeah,
your taxable income, but it's
right.
actually going to reduce his taxable income. And so he's going to get further ahead, and you're unfortunately going to get further behind. And so at the end of 5 years, if you rent that for 5 years, that's $90,000 that you didn't get to have, that he got to have. His taxes obviously got reduced, like we were talking about. But the other piece here that it's hard for normal people to quantify, what does that $90,000 do over those 5 years if it's in a house? And so that 90,000 in a house, let's say you bought a $300,000 house. I'm just going to do this math with you right here, and I'm going to show you an example. If you bought a $300,000 house and in 5 years it appreciated 5% every year, which is what we assumed, then that's two, three, four, five. That house would be worth $383,000 at the end of those 5 years. So you lost $90,000 paying rent. You missed out on $83,000 of equity. So you're looking at 170 plus $1,000 that you're further behind than you would have been if you found a way to get into that $300,000 house and you just rode that wave. That's how people get wealthy. When you start to grasp that, you realize, oh my goodness, I've been doing it wrong. You have, and that's okay. We can get you there though. This is an offer, but you have to take advantage of it. If you don't take advantage, we can't help you.
Monty's so passionate about this, but I
I
mean,
am.
I've rented at times in my life. I've bought 8 different homes. I'm sure Monty has bought quite a few homes in his lifetime. But to the renters out there, Monty, I could feel the pain. Like,
Oh,
ouch. What do you say to
I'm
them? I
sorry.
mean, they're
Well,
feeling like, like, ow, that kind of hurts a little bit. What would you say
Yeah,
to
I
them?
know. Well, it's because I love you that I'm telling you that. And the truth will set you free. It really will. I feel like I'm Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire right now saying, help. Or actually, I'm Jerry Maguire, I guess, saying to Cuba Gooding Jr., help me, help you. Help me, help you. You have to engage with the Freedom from Rent community if we're going to be able to help you. And so that's what we want to do. We want to help you. We want to lovingly tell you the truth because the rich are getting richer and it's not helping you. Nobody's telling you that because the rich people want to keep getting richer. But David and I are sick of that. We want you to know the goodness that you can experience too.
That's really a good way to. So what Monty's saying and what I'm saying is we don't want to make you feel bad. We want to give
No.
you resources, and there is a way out. But that's another problem that a lot of my clients have found, Monty, is that they get frustrated. They throw their hands up in there. I I guess I just never going to be able to own a house again, ever. What do you say to them when they're really kind of throwing their
Hmm.
hands up and saying, I just don't know. I don't think I can do this.
Yeah. Well, I'd say one of the main reasons is if they have the courage to make that call and talk to a loan officer, there's about a 99% chance that that loan officer is lazy, like most are, and isn't interested in helping somebody who's renting buy a house unless it's easy or it's a very expensive house where their commission is going to be really high.
Right.
Nobody wants to help somebody buy a $250,000 house or a $300,000 house. It's just not worth it, especially if their credit score is not already good and high. And I am sad and ashamed of my own industry and the way that loan officers don't really want to help people. They just want to make more money. And so when you come and you say, here's where I am and I'm renting and I don't have a ton of money, but maybe I can get a gift or something, they're just like, hey, bless your heart. Call us back in a couple of years once you make more money, save more money. And in the meantime, they're robbing you of all that appreciation you could have. So I am begging you, I'm saying, hey, I'm different. Test me in this, try me. We'll put a plan together. I can't guarantee that you'll be approved, but I can guarantee you I will give you multiple avenues to be approved to tell you what it would take. You can keep throwing things in my face that are not good, but I'm going to tell you there's a way to overcome that. There's a way to overcome that. If you have had a bankruptcy, no problem. If you had a foreclosure, no problem. If your credit score's in the 400s, no problem. We'll find a way to get you there because I have a bigger vision of actually helping people instead of just making tons of money.
Monty, yeah, I mean, the reason I was shaking my head and kind of smiling is because in my own industry, I'm embarrassed too. I have realtors that say things like, "Oh, I don't work with renters. Oh, I don't work at that price point." Monty, I have one of my one of the two. One of them is at 500,000, and one is at 230,000.
Mm,
This woman is so sweet. She's a single mom. She's got a 12-year-old
mm,
son, and I want to help her. And I work just as hard for $230,000 sale as I do for the $500,000 sale.
sure.
But I am embarrassed because there are realtors out there that will say, "Oh yeah, if you're going to buy in that price point, I don't work with that." And what Monty's saying
Mm,
is that we can help you. We want to help everybody. And I never say to someone, "Oh, I can't help you with a rental." I'll help you with a rental
yeah.
because eventually I'm going to show you, and hopefully you're going to be a member of this
Mm,
community where you're going
yeah,
to learn how you can be a homeowner. And that's what it's all
absolutely.
about. And that's why Monty and I are so excited about this community. All right, let's see. Next slide. There we go. Let's bust some myths, Monty. Do you feel like being a myth buff? I can't even say it. A
Buster.
myth
Yeah.
buster today? Go ahead, take
Yeah.
it away.
Well, I don't know that I'll get to be on TV on the show Mythbusters, but we can definitely do it here for some home ownership myths. The first one's down payment. Most people have heard that veterans can put 0% down, but they don't know that there's other ways to do really low down payment options. They also may think that it's only for first-time homebuyers, which is also not true. There are some benefits for first-time homebuyers, and so if that's where we are, if the person watching this, if you are renting and you are going to buy your first home, then great. There's some benefits there. But if you're not, if you've been renting but you owned a house last year or something, that's okay. There's still benefits. There's still ways to put 3.5% down instead of 3% down on conventional. VA, easiest, best, awesome. If you served our country in the military and you are eligible for a VA loan, that one is phenomenal. We've also got USDA loans at 0% down. You can Google USDA map eligibility and you can look in the neighborhoods you're thinking to see is it eligible for a 0% down USDA loan. There's so many options out there. And so down payment can sound like it's really big and it's got to be 20% down. That's just not true. That's old school wisdom that our parents taught us that you need to put 20% down, but you don't. The next one is credit score, that perfect credit isn't necessary. We do consider multiple factors, and some programs that we have, at least VA, USDA, FHA, there's no minimum credit score. Technically, there's no minimum. We have to see compensating factors the lower your credit score goes. So that doesn't mean you're going to automatically be approved, but it means that you've got to try. We can look to see do you have other factors that would mean you could be approved even if your credit score is really low. So you don't need perfect credit and you don't want to miss out on that $83,000 appreciation while you're trying to get your scores up because it's not going to make that big of a difference. The difference in a 740 credit score and a 680 credit score is not that big a deal. The last one is the market stability. Real estate, as I demonstrated with that really simple example, a $300,000 house in 5 years is going to be worth 383. It's very stable. It's predictable. Even though the media likes to say housing is tanking or appreciation is gone, that's not true. Look at the facts. In 81 years, there's only been 7 years that there was a depreciation instead of appreciation. And when you took even those 7 years, they didn't happen simultaneously. When you took them with a few years, just a couple of years, 3, 4 years around them, the appreciation was still way over 5%. It's off the charts. It's amazing. So don't let somebody sell you some negative BS that's going to hurt you just because they enjoy talking negatively. While I'm on my soapbox here, I'm going to tell you that optimists tend to live 10 years longer. It's what I've been taught than pessimists. So
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah.
a pessimist, be an optimist. Believe you can do it. Henry Ford said, those who say they can and those who say they can't are both right. So if you believe you can buy a house, you can. If you believe you're never going to buy a house, you're probably not. So believe it, and then we'll help you achieve it.
Monty, that is, man, you're singing to the choir here, buddy. I really appreciate that. And
Yeah.
you're busting some myths. I do like to, I still have a tendency to tie things to martial arts. Monty, I used to have my students would come up to me and they'd say,
Mm.
they would call me Master Barry and they'd say, Master Barry, I can't go, I want to go to the tournament. I really want to go to the tournament, but I'm going to get my butt kicked. So I'm not going to participate. I know I'm going to lose. And it's the same thing. And I would be like, you
Mm.
already lost. You've
Yeah.
already lost. And it's so sad to see somebody lose that didn't even try. So the thing that I love about this community is that we're
Mm.
able, most people don't know where to go. Monty, true
Mm.
story. I just yesterday, this kid that was, I call him a kid, but he was 26 years old. He said to me, he goes, I told my friend this morning that I'm going to try to find a Facebook group where I can learn how to buy a house because I don't know where to go and who to ask. And I was like,
Mhm.
the big guy upstairs put us together today,
Yeah.
and he's now a member of the community. It was a great story. So just to recap, down payment, you don't have to have 20%.
Mm.
Credit scores, stop thinking you have to have 700 credit, 750 credit, 800 credit. Most people don't have that. So
Right.
if that was the case, no one would ever buy a house.
Right.
Market stability. Monty did a great job of letting you guys know about that. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's talk about becoming mortgage ready. Now, this is a
Mm.
big one. And I think this is where people really need the professionals like Monty and myself to help you. But becoming mortgage ready, and remember, just
Mhm.
like as becoming a black belt, we have belts. We have white belt, orange belt, yellow belt. It's steps. It's a step process. When you set a goal, you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan for your goal, guess what? What happens, Monty?
You failed to plan. You,
Exactly.
yeah, you're planning to fail. So,
Well, let's take these one at a time. So the first one, credit check. How do they know
yeah,
their score and pay down higher interest rates? Why don't you tackle that?
yeah, no, that's a good one. So anybody that tells you they're going to do a hard credit pull is wrong. Don't do that. That's manipulation. That comes from an old adage in our business, in the mortgage business, that says, he who pulls credit first wins. And so they're trying to do a hard inquiry, which lowers your score actually, just to take control, manipulate you, and keep you in their bucket. Don't do it. We don't do any of that. We do soft credit pulls. They do not reflect on your credit score, but it gives us everything we need to know to pre-approve you, not just pre-qualify you, but actually pre-approve you. And so we're going to do a soft credit pull. We're going to know all three scores, all three bureaus, and then we're going to tell you what that means. The cool thing is, if we do that early enough, before you must find a house or before your lease is just about to be up, we still have time to improve that score. Say it comes in at a 575, and we say we just need 5 more points to 580, and you're going to be approved for the particular program you want. We have time. We can do that. 5 points is easy if we've got a little bit of time. So that's the first step. And it also tells us where your debt to income ratio is because we know how many debts you have, your monthly payments versus what your monthly income is.
Got it. And then budgeting. I know this is one, Monty's super passionate about budgeting, so go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's important to know your budget, know what your monthly payment can be. Just because you could be approved for it doesn't mean you should be approved for it, or that you should do it. So it's good. You should talk with your spouse, significant other, and look at what you're going to need to do. I do still believe in stretching yourself. None of us find a down payment and closing costs and monthly payment that just overwhelms us with joy. It's rare that that happens. So it's okay for your monthly payment to be a little bit of a stretch. You're a little bit uncomfortable because you're leaning into that $170,000 of profit that you're going to make in those 5 years. So it's important to have a budget, know what you can afford.
Well, Monty, you touched on this, and I'm gonna go circle back to it because
Mm,
it is true. And by the way, guys, it doesn't matter what industry it is. I don't care. You can name any
mm,
industry you want. There's bad, there's bad apples and there's good
sure,
apples.
sure.
And unfortunately, there are rookies and they're not really sure what they're doing and they're trying to figure it out on the fly and they really don't know. You should be able to pick up on that, but by having somebody like Monty and myself, um, the reason I was saying that, Monty, is I've heard these horror stories where realtors are taking people out and they're looking
Mm,
at $600,000 houses and they
mm,
know that there's no way that they could get approved for more than 300,000. They're wasting the realtor's time, the listing
mm.
agent's time. I mean, it's ridiculous. Talk about pre-approval.
Yeah, so a pre-approval, you need to get with the lender that'll actually pre-approve you, not just pre-qualify you. A lot of lenders will do a pre-qualification, which means we had a phone call. That's it. You didn't show them anything. They don't know. They didn't check your credit, soft or hard. They didn't do anything. They just said, "Sounds good, Mr. Berry. I'll send you a letter right now." Great. Having a 5 minute conversation. That is a dangerous thing to do. You do not want to lose your earnest money. You do not want to get under contract. I had a buyer a few months ago who dropped me in the middle of the process. We were going along with a specialty loan, a bank statement loan, because he was self-employed. And he dropped me. He called me and said, "Hey, I appreciate you. You've been amazing. But I found a better rate with a different online lender that said they're going to be able to do a different kind of a loan, an FHA loan." And I said, "You don't qualify for that." And he said, "Oh, they told me I do. And so I'm good." I said, "Okay, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to keep your loan going just in case I'm right." And sure enough, week before closing, he called me and said, "You'll never believe it. They just denied me. I don't qualify." And I said, "I knew that. Good news is you're already out of underwriting. We're already good to go. We closed on time. It was fine." So be careful who you pick as a lender. It could cost you a lot of money. It could cost you a lot of headache. And if you're a man, your wife may just take you out back and dispose of you if you make such a dumb decision. So, don't do that. Get pre-approved.
And I share this with everybody. I told you guys this is going to be a great podcast today. You don't get to become the top 1% of lenders in America by not knowing how to really take care of your clients. We got two more little things real quick. Savings plan. You have a real quick pointer on savings?
Yeah, a bigger down payment is always great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's important to know that there's not just a down payment, but there's closing costs and you've got to have an emergency fund. So we don't want to overtax you or take all your money. So we can help you look at that and see what makes sense. And the last one, the education bit, I'm sure David has some thoughts on this, but I'll just say I don't own it. It's not something that I created. David's the mastermind behind it. I'm super impressed with it. Never seen anything like it in the nation. And so you've got so much guidance and support there. If you're renting, you absolutely need to be a part of that community.
Well, I would like for you to, I'm looking up because my lighting just went out, but sometimes education can be overwhelming. And is there too much education, not enough? Is there a happy medium when you're talking with your clients about education? What are your thoughts on that?
I'd say there's different amounts for different people. There's different personality profiles that people use, and a lot of those point to certain personalities that want more education, just the way they lean, versus some others don't really want all the education. They just want to know, how do I get what I want? And I trust you. Monty, you're an expert. You're in the top 1%. I came to you because you're an expert. If I wanted education, I would have read up on it, found somebody else, and done it myself. But I came to you because of that. Others want to know the knowledge in my head. They want to know why are we doing this? What else could we do? Do you have any creative options? I thought I heard you help somebody get a 2.99 interest rate. Well, yeah, it's called a temporary buy down. Well, what's that? How do I get that? Some of them want that. They want
Yeah.
us to go through that and educate them on how we can pull the different levers and what that means. There's no magic. There's nothing that's illegal. It's all just numbers. Math is not complicated if you understand it. You can start to pull on different things and it gives somebody what they want. So we give as much or as little as the client
Monty,
prefers.
I'm smiling again because again, this is music to my ears, but I gotta say
Mm,
that just by them watching this one video, and we have hundreds of videos in my library. I have 300, I think, YouTube videos. I haven't put them all into the school community, but I guess my point is I would recommend that you don't just watch just this one, although you're way ahead of most people if you just get through this one, because this is packed with a ton of information. So,
mm,
but I wouldn't just do one video. That's my point. All right,
right.
moving on. So the benefit of the Freedom from Rent membership, the biggest benefit that I want to start with is the fact that it's free. And I want to give a shout out to everybody that's joined this. I haven't really even pushed this. We have less than 100 members right now. And I believe I was just looking at a school community, Monty, yesterday. The guy has over
Mm,
100,000 members. I
wow.
wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if this is a national movement, I believe that we could have
Mm,
tens of thousands of people that are
yes.
interested in not paying their landlord's mortgage. But the
Mm,
biggest benefit, Monty, I have to share is that it's free. We don't charge anything for this. And
yeah.
all and knowledge is power. Guys,
Mm,
when you're thinking about buying a house, knowledge is power. Monty and I we could do a whole podcast, and we probably will, about the guy that said, "I'm just going to do this on my own. I don't need a realtor. I'll figure it out."
mm,
Monty has horror story after horror story
mm,
about that. But educational resources. We do workshops for people, first-time
mm,
home buyers. We do workshops all the time. We have guides on home buying. Monty has a checklist for you. Monty can set you up and he can tell you these are the steps that you need to do. Some lenders are just going to say, "Oh, you don't have the right credit, you don't have a down payment. Call me back in 4 years and maybe we can talk."
mm,
Monty's not that guy. Personalized guidance, Mining has already said that either him or his team, and his team's amazing. I've worked with almost everyone in his team.
mm,
They will take care of you. And exclusive programs. We have discounted fees, we have special rates, payment assistance, and for our members, we even have some surprises where we can save you money. Do you have anything you want to add to this slide, Money?
you said it all.
Thanks. I'm pretty passionate about it too. All right, this is a big one. So here's the elephant in the room. That F word. We don't like to use four-letter words and we don't like to use F words. But Monty, I gotta say it. Fear. And there is
Mm,
a lot of fear. And you know what, guys? Some of it's warranted. And we understand it. We weren't born and somebody just handed us a house. We had to buy it. We had to go through these same pains and processes. And now we teach it for a living. So,
mm.
Monty, take it away. Fear in home buying.
Yeah, that's a good word there, David. I would say some of it is not wrong, some of it is not false, but for the majority of it, I would say it is. When somebody's looking at renting and believing they can't buy a house, that word fear really stands for false evidence appearing real. And so they're believing false evidence, and that's what's making them make that decision. So education, they've got to understand that by knowing what's actually going on, you're not as scared. Just like a little kid that hears a bump in their room when the lights are off and they believe it's a monster. Well, we all know it's not a monster. And if the lights were just on, they'd realize it was just a toy falling off. Nobody's coming to get them. So that knowledge takes away all the fear. The second one is the preparation. Knowing your numbers builds confidence. If you know you can afford it, if it's no longer fear tactics of saying mortgage payments are 3,000 or 4,000 a month, uh, you know that your mortgage payment is not 3,000 a month. Maybe it's 2,000 a month. It may still be more than what you're paying in rent, but would you not pay 500 more a month to have 170,000 in 5 years? Well, I think you would. I think anybody would. Right. So preparation, you got to know those numbers, and that's going to give you the confidence, which is another thing we could have said. There's it's going to give you peace. We all long for that peace in our life to feel good about decisions we're making. And the last one, the support. It's one thing to walk through Africa, where I used to live, and there were lions walking around with us. I would have felt very differently about that if there had not been guides with me, like actually safari guides walking with us as these lions were walking around us. Because they were there with us, I knew I had nothing to fear. They had guns, they knew how lions behaved, they were watching their behavior. So, David and I are those safari guides, so to speak. We know what this looks like. We do this thousands of times. And so we're going to be able to tell you this is something to worry about or this is not something to worry about. And if it is something to worry about, here's how I'm going to fix it. Not how you're going to fix it, but how we're going to fix it. So you need professionals. You need the best of the best. We all cost the same anyway. So I don't know why you would pick a brand new realtor when you could use David Barry. Like, it would blow me away, but people do it. So
Thank you so much for saying that, Monty. I
yeah,
really appreciate it.
the, you're right at the bottom here. The biggest risk might not be investing in yourself. You are your greatest resource, and by not choosing yourself every day, you're just pushing that dream further out, and the good that wants to come to you. It's like it's trying to come to you, and you're pushing it away and pushing it away and saying, "No, I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy." You are worthy. We're here to tell you you are worthy. God loves you. You can do this, and we'll help you.
Yeah, I mean, I said it. Hopefully, I said it enough times where you just keep resonating in your head. Knowledge is power.
Mm,
Knowledge is power, and the more knowledge you have, the better you're going to do. And by the way,
right.
most of the time, we don't tell you what you have to do. We
Mhm.
give you options. We show you things, and I break everything down. Yesterday, my new client that's buying the $230,000 house. She said, David, I'd be so happy with that inspection report if I could just get $1,000 towards repairs. I got her
Yeah.
3,000, and I showed her how. If she was doing it on her own, she might not have gotten anything. So,
Mm,
but by having the knowledge and having somebody that really knows what they're doing and going to bat for you, I mean,
mhm,
I take the fiduciary responsibility of you being my client. I mean, and Monty does too. I mean, we are
mm.
super passionate about our clients. So,
Yeah.
um, let's get rid of the fear, guys, and let's get more educated and build that
Mm,
confidence. This word, confidence, this is so important when it comes to buying a house.
mm,
All right, practical next steps. Well, you took the big step. You joined our free community, but now while you're in this community, I think it's vital that you post, comment. Let's celebrate. I didn't even share this with Monty yet, but one of my goals, Monty, is for this community here in
mm,
Southern Nevada that maybe the last Friday of the month we go and do a wine bar or something and we have a celebration. And
mm,
all of our 3 to 5 to 10 members that actually closed on a house, we're going to have them come up and they're going to share with this community. And by showing that and celebrating it, other
mm.
people in the audience are going to, wait a minute, if he could do it, I know
Right.
I could do it. And that happened in my martial art world. People
Mm,
they'd be sitting on the sidelines watching the classes, and then one day they'd be like, I see so many people. I just want to do it too. And it's
yeah.
the same thing, but celebration is such an important thing to me and Monty. We
Mm,
want to celebrate with you. This is a big
mhm.
deal. And Monty
Yeah.
says this all the time to me. He says,
Mm,
David, this is the biggest purchase these guys are going to make in their entire life.
it really
So
is.
you took the first step. You joined the community.
Mm,
Please, if you like the community, share it with your friends. Let other people know because there's other people out there, I promise you, that are renting that don't want to be.
mhm.
Make
Right.
sure, Bonnie, go ahead. You take number 2. What does that say?
Yeah, you do need to consult a lender, really good lender that knows what they're doing and can get you ready and outline a plan for you.
And review your finances. I mean, we don't want to sound like we're beating a dead horse
Mm,
here, but finances, this is a major factor. And
yes.
set a timeline. Make sure you set a timeline, just like I would tell my students, it's going to take you 3 years to become a black belt. It may take
Hmm.
you 2 or 3 years before you're ready to get that pre-qualification letter. But to just sit, here's the thing. no action equals no results. So you
Sure.
take no action for all of 2025. The rates are too high. Home prices are
Right.
way out of line. I'm not going to take any steps. I really want to be a homeowner,
Mm,
but I'm not going to take any
mm,
steps.
mm.
Now, we didn't say that you should buy a house in 2025. It may be
Right.
right or it might be wrong. But the
Mm,
wrong thing I can say with 100% conviction is that if you said, I'm not going to take any steps towards becoming a homeowner when that's what you truly want,
mm,
you don't have to, we're not telling you have to buy a house this year, but you should be taking steps if that's one of your major goals in your life is to be a homeowner.
mm.
Anything you want to add to that, Monty, or anything on these
No,
things?
no, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. And then this website's wrong, but Monty's going to share all of his contact information,
Yeah.
and he has a large team. I mean, they can really give you the plans, the action steps. They
Mm,
can help you, and they can tell you. I mean, and this is the cool thing about being with Monty Felts is he could say, "I truly believe that if you take care of these four
mm,
steps, you could
hmm.
be a homeowner in 6 months,
Yeah,
or
it's
you could
true.
be a homeowner in 18 months. It's going to take you a
Yeah.
little time." But that's the first step. So, Monty,
Mm,
I'd like for you to share your the way that they can get a hold of you
yeah.
and anything else you want to add in closing.
Yeah, definitely. You can Google my name. It's unique enough that it will come right up. Monty Felts Mortgage. You can type that in. That's not the website, but you can type that into Google. Just my name and the word mortgage. It'll pop right up. You'll find me. It'll be great. And it's got all the contact information there. I will share with any of you my cell phone number. It's not listed online, but I want to do that just as a benefit to the freedom from rent. So you can text me if you want to text me on my cell phone. It's 512-712-3366. Again, 512-712-3366. Feel free to text me something I want to do for the freedom from rent community. I want, as David said, for us to have over 100 people at the end of every year that have made that jump and that are able to celebrate. And who knows, we might do a big drawing or something for one of those people, just not only to own a house, but maybe to go on a vacation. Who knows? We may go crazy. So for now, let's focus on buying houses.
That sounds sign me up. And again, I'm David Barry, your Southern Nevada realtor. I help people stop paying their landlord's mortgage. I'm very proud of this community. I take a lot of pride in presenting. You can reach me at 702-374-1771. And Monty, what a great show. This was an action-packed half an hour. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to help a lot of people with this big decision. So we will talk
Absolutely.
soon, Monty, and take care. Thank you.